Hello and welcome back to another full step-by-step PC build guide. Today I'm going to be showing you how to build a PC in the latest case from SAMA. This is the S50. If you see any parts you like, you find links to everything I've used in the description. So as usual, let's dive in and take a closer look at this case. Our tempered glass side panel can simply be popped out from the back and then lifted up and away. Taking a look at our other side panel, we've got this perforated area, and it's to provide airflow to our power supply, which is going to be mounted at the front, and also the optional side mounted fan. And again, our side panel can simply be popped out from the top and lifted up and away. And we've got a removable dust filter over the perforated area. Our case's top panel can simply be popped off from the back and lifted away. Taking a look at the underside of this panel, you'll see there's no additional dust filters, and we've just got an integrated sheet of mesh at the top. And there's also no removable fan stroke radiator brackets at the top, so you're going to have to screw everything directly into the top of the case. We've got a mesh panel on the front of the case with our I/O at the bottom, and I'll give you a closer look at this. We've got a power button, we've got a button to cycle through the ARGB effects, and our case's built-in ARGB controller. We've got a combined headphone and microphone jack, a single USB Type-C port, and two USB Type-A ports. And our mesh front panel can simply be pulled away. Again, taking a look at the back of the panel, there's no additional dust filters, and we've just got this single sheet of mesh. With the front panel removed, you can see we've got three 120mm PWM ARGB fans pre-installed at the front. And our fourth and final pre-installed case fan is at the rear. It's another 120mm PWM ARGB fan. On the top of the case, you're able to fit up to three 120mm fans or up to a 360mm radiator. You can see from the mounting slots that 140mm fans or radiators in multiples of 140 aren't going to be supported. On the bottom of the case, it's possible to fit another three 120mm fans. Our final fan mounting slot is on the side, and to use it, you're going to need to remove this magnetically attached dust filter. The reason you can only fit one fan on the side is because we've got this large bump extended into the main compartment, and this is where our power supply is going to be mounted on the other side. In terms of motherboard support, the case supports motherboards up to ATX in size, and it's good to see we've got additional countouts for back connector ATX and also micro ATX motherboards. If you want to go with a CPR killer, the maximum height supported is up to 165mm. At the rear, we've got 7 horizontal expansion slot brackets, and the maximum length of graphics card supported is up to 410mm. And you'll notice we've got this notch here, which is used to mount a GPU support bracket. So it comes in our case accessory bag. So all you're going to simply do is set the GPU support bracket into place on this notch. And then you're going to be able to use two of the screws that come loose in the case accessory bag with the rounded head to secure it into place. So then after installing our GPU, we're going to be able to slide this up to where it supports the GPU and then tighten the screws up at the back to hold it in place. And you'll notice we've got a little pad on the top of this to help protect our graphics card. As I've mentioned, your power supply is going to be installed here, and the case supports full-sized ATX power supplies up to a maximum length of 180mm. So because your power supply is at the front, but you normally plug your power cable in at the back of the case, we do have this cable extension that you're going to need to plug into your power supply. The other end of that cable comes out here, so this is where you're going to plug your power cable coming from your wall. And you'll see the reason that SAMA have done this. The case isn't actually that thick at all. You can see the motherboard and fan, and we've actually very little space at the rear of the case. And that's because the bulge of your power supply is going to be taken up in this space in the main compartment. And the big advantage of this is that you're going to have free unobstructed airflow at the bottom of the case if you do decide to mount fans here. So we've got this drive mounting bracket. We are able to mount either 4 2.5-inch drives or 3 3.5-inch drives. It's held on with a single screw at the top, and with it removed you can tilt the panel out and lift it up to remove it. So all you're going to simply do is put the drives on the reverse side of this, and all the holes on the back of it are labelled for either SSD or HDD, depending on whether you're going with a 2.5-inch or 3.5-inch drive. Then you're simply going to secure the drives at the back. You're going to use the motherboard screws, the screws with a little lip around the outside to secure 2.5-inch drives, and the screws with a rounded head for 3.5-inch drives. So you can see we've got plenty of cable tie-down points around the motherboard, and we've got some Velcro cable straps included in the case accessory box. In terms of cable routing space, as the case supports back connector motherboards, this looks pretty good at 47mm. Down at the bottom, we've got our built-in PWM and ARGB fan hub, and you can see our 4 pre-installed case fans have been plugged in, leaving us 2 spare PWM and 2 spare ARGB ports. You can see that we've got an LED switch connected up to that button on the front of the case. So you're going to be able to press that button to cycle through the built-in ARGB effects. If you prefer, you do have the option for motherboard control. All you're going to need to do is plug this cable into an ARGB header on your motherboard, and you're simply just going to need to hold the button on the front of the case in for 3 seconds to enter motherboard control. Press it again to exit and be able to control it again with the buttons on the front of the case. And obviously you're going to be able to control all the fans plugged in by plugging this PWM header into a fan header on your motherboard. Not the easiest to see, but on the other end of the hub we do have a SATA power connector. So you're going to need to plug a SATA cable coming from your power supply into this connector to power the hub, and if you forget to do this, the hub is not going to work. So it is good to see that our case cables are colour matched to the colour of the case, although it is a little bit disappointing that the PWM and ARGB cables aren't. Won't be a big problem for us because we're going with a back connector motherboard, but just something to factor in if you are planning on bringing these black cables through to the front of the case. We're now ready to start working on our motherboard, where we're going to be installing our CPU, the bracket for our CPU cooler, our M.2 SSD and our RAM before we put the motherboard into the case. To open our socket cover, we're going to push this lever down and out to bring it all the way to the middle of the motherboard, and then we're going to be able to open the socket cover up. Holding our CPU carefully by the edges and making sure we've got the text the correct way up, we're going to lower it carefully down into the socket. Once we're happy it's sitting correctly, we can go ahead and close the socket cover down again. Then as we close the lever, the white bit of plastic will pop off and we'll put it into our motherboard box for safekeeping. To install the brackets for our CPU cooler, the first thing we're going to do is remove these stock clips. They're each held on with 2 screws. And then we can take the AMD standoffs that came with our CPU cooler and we're going to screw one onto each corner. Because I've got a Gen 5 M.2 SSD, I'm going to be installing it in the top slot. So I'm going to press the clip at the side, that's going to free the heatsink up, and then I'm going to be able to lift it up and away. It is important to remember to remove the plastic protection from the back of the heatsink. Next I'm going to take the M.2 SSD, insert it into the slot at a slight angle, and then as I flatten it down, this clip is going to hold it in place. You'll notice that our heatsink blocks the middle screw hole in our motherboard, so I'm going to need to leave the heatsink off until I've installed the motherboard in the case. Likewise, this large heatsink at the bottom is blocking all our motherboard screw holes, so we're going to need to temporarily remove it. We'll press this lever, lift the heatsink up and remove it. So this brings us on to installing our RAM, and I've got a kit of 2 sticks, so I'm going to need to install it in the 2nd and 4th slot along from the CPU. So we'll go ahead and open the clips on these slots. Then all I need to do is take the stick of RAM, line it up with a slot, and once I'm happy everything's lined up, just some firm pressure and it's going to clip into place. Then it's exactly the same thing with our 2nd stick of RAM, line it up and some firm pressure and it's going to clip into place. Next we're going to insert our motherboard into the case, line it up with the standoffs at the back. And you'll notice that whenever the middle standoff goes through the middle hole in the motherboard, it's going to help hold our motherboard in place. And then we'll go ahead and secure it into place with 9 of the motherboard screws. And then at this stage we can replace the heat sinks. Next we've got our case cables to plug in. Our HD audio header is going to go in this header down the bottom right hand side of the motherboard, and we're going to plug it in with the HD audio text facing up the way. We've got a 3-pin 5V ARGB header here, so I'm going to take the ARGB cable coming from our hub and we'll get it plugged in. Next we've got 2 system fan headers, so I'm going to take the PWM cable coming from our fan hub, we'll get it lined up and pushed into place. Our front panel connectors are going to go into the pins on the right hand side of this large header here, and we're going to want to plug it in with the front panel text facing down the way. So we'll go ahead and get it lined up and push into place. Our USB Type A cable is going to go into this header here. It should have a little plastic connector around it. Unfortunately it broke off during a previous build, but all the pins are still here, so I can simply line the cable up with the notch facing this way and then push into place. And then we've got our front panel Type C connector, which is going to go into this header here, so line it up and push into place. So this brings us on to installing our power supply, and it is labelled where you plug in each of the cables. So I've plugged in a 12V 2x6 cable to power our graphics card, our 24-pin motherboard cable, a SATA power cable to power our fan and ARGB hub, and 2 8-pin EPS power connectors to provide additional power to our CPU. We can then set our power supply into place, making sure its fan is facing out the way. We can then secure it into place at the top using 4 of the large power supply screws. You'll notice at the top of the power supply we've got this switch labelled DF switch. This is for dust-free removal. So you can press this switch and it'll get the fan to run in the opposite direction, helping remove dust. So we can then bring our power supply cable extension up through the cutout, and we'll go ahead and get it plugged in. And very importantly, we need to remember to turn the switch to on our power supply. So you'll notice at the top we've got both an 8 and a 4-pin EPS power connector. So we'll take one of the 8-pin connectors. They actually come as 2 separate 4-pin connectors. We'll get them lined up and push them both into place. The second one, we're only going to need one of our power connectors, so we'll go ahead and line it up and push into place. Then we've got our 24-pin connector, which is going to go into here. So we'll just go ahead and get it lined up with the header and push into place. Last cable to plug in is the SATA cable coming from our power supply into the SATA connector on our fan and ARGB hub. Next, we can set our fans onto our radiator, and importantly, we're going to want to have the cables coming out towards the rear of the case. And we'll secure the fans into place using the included long radiator screws. Then we just need to join the connectors on the fans together. And then we get this long extension cable. We'll plug it into the end connector. And on this other end, we've got a 4-pin PWM cable to go into our CPU fan header. So out of the box, we've got an Intel bracket installed in our pump. It simply pulls off. And then we can take our AMD bracket and push it into place. Now, if you're getting the cooler from new, it will have thermal paste pre-applied. I've already used this cooler, which is why there's none there. So I'm going to have to add some to our CPU. But if you're using this from new, you can skip this step. So just before we set the radiator into place, I'm going to pass the cable coming from the fans and the radiator through to the back. And I'm just going to keep pulling it up towards the back as I slide our I/O into place. So one slight issue I'm having, because we've got all this excess cable and this power supply compartment bulges out, there's actually no space behind the radiator for these connections. So what I'm actually going to do is try and cable manage these connectors at the back, because there is a little gap in the fans that I can hold them in place. Okay, we'll try that again. And then we'll secure it into place with 12 of the short radiator screws. And we can then replace our top panel. Next, I'm going to add some thermal paste to the center of the CPU. And then I'm just going to line our pump up with the bracket on the motherboard. And then we just need to get a thumb screw onto each corner. And then we just need to tighten each corner up and turn with a screwdriver. Then we just need to pass the cables coming from the pump through to the back. So I'm going to pass the black cable first, because hopefully the white cable is then going to hide it. Then the PWM cable coming from our pump, I'm going to plug into our CPU ops header, which is this one here. The middle one is our CPU fan header, so we'll take the cable coming from our fans and the radiator and get it plugged into here. And then we've got two USB 2.0 headers down at the bottom, so we'll take the USB cable coming from our pump and get it plugged in. We're now ready to install our graphics card. We're going to need to remove the second, third and fourth expansion slot cover from the top. So to open this door, we need to loosen this thumb screw. And that's going to actually tilt the door open, and then if we lift up, we're going to be able to remove this bracket. And then we'll go ahead and get our slot covers removed. And to open the clip in our top PCIe slot, we just need to push this button. We can then go ahead and line our graphics card up with the slot. And once we're happy everything's lined up, it's just going to be some firm pressure and the graphics card is going to slot into place. We'll then get it secured with the 3 screws we've just removed, and then we can replace the slot cover. Next, I'm just going to slide our GPU support bracket up to where it's supporting our graphics card, and then we'll tighten up the 2 screws at the back. And a very important step when using the GPU support bracket is after securing it, you want to check that the fan can spin freely and it's not catching on the bracket. Then we can bring the 12 volt 2x6 cable through the cutout. We can get it lined up with the graphics card and push into place. And then we'll just tidy all the excess cable through to the back. Okay, last thing to do is some cable management to get the panels back on again. that's the build complete. As you can see, I've gone ahead and got everything set up off camera. If you don't know how to do that, including installing Windows, drivers, RGB software, entering the BIOS, updating the BIOS and adjusting all your BIOS settings, I've made a guide to setting up a PC after you've built it, and you'll find a link to that video in the description. In terms of our temperatures, our Ryzen 7 9700X idled at 41 degrees and reached a maximum of 62 degrees during a 10-minute IDA64 stability test. The Gigabyte AERO 5070 Ti idled at 25 degrees and reached a maximum of 56 degrees under load. In terms of noise, we had average noise levels of 35 decibels at idle and 44 decibels under load. So in general, I did have a pretty good building experience in the case. The only slight issue I had was with those connectors on the fans at the back of the I/O, and because the power supply compartment does bulge out into the main compartment, there was absolutely no space behind it for those connectors. So I think what you would really need to be careful at the top is making sure you weren't using a thick radiator and making sure the fans connecting on it aren't going to have lots of connectors at the back, because I think that's probably the only place you can run into trouble in this case. So moving on to the things I like about the case, in general I think it is a good looking case and I found the build quality to be pretty good throughout. You've got 4 reasonably good PWM ARGB fans all connected up to a controller, and you're going to have motherboard control as well as a button on the front of the case to cycle through the ARGB effects. I also thought it was good that a GPU support bracket was included, and it did a good job of supporting the graphics card I used. The other thing that I really liked about this case was it is actually quite a thin case, because the second chamber is really narrow, and it achieves this by having the bulge into the main compartment for the power supply. And the advantage of doing this is you don't have your power supply down at the bottom, meaning you've got the bottom to install fans which are completely unobstructed. So if you wanted additional cooling for your GPU, this one obviously didn't need it, but if you did have a more difficult to cool GPU, it would allow you to do it well without any compromises. So there was 4 things I didn't like about this case, 2 major and 2 minor. So the first major one was the power LED light on the front of the case. It is fixed to blue, so if you want to go with a white theme like me, the blue really stands out, and I think this would have been so much better to either have it not powered on or synced up to whatever you have the ARGB set to. The other thing that I didn't like was the dust filter on the side of the case. I just think this didn't work in terms of aesthetics. It kept falling off during the build and you were able to see all the cables through it. I also think that putting a fan here would be quite difficult with the cable routing space at the back, and I do really think SAMA should have just had a solid panel here. The 2 minor things were not matching the colour of the cables coming from our fan and ARGB hub with the colour of the case. They did it for the rest of the case cables, but they left out the ARGB and PWM connectors. Not a big problem for me with a back connector build, but had you been bringing these through to the front of the case going for an all white build, it wouldn't have looked great. And then the other thing, building with a back connector motherboard, there was just the large cutouts over to the right hand side of the motherboard, and including some magnetic cable covers would have made this look so much better. So for the first SAMA case that I've checked out, I'm fairly impressed. Definitely more positives than negatives. At $110 US, I do think it is a little on the pricey side, and I would have expected this case to be more around the $80 to $90 price point. But certainly if you do like the look of it and you're looking for a way to cool your GPU, it does have a nice way to do it by moving that power supply up at the side, and you don't really have to compromise in terms of having a really thick dual chamber case on your desk. So hopefully you have enjoyed this full step-by-step PC build guide. If you have, please remember to give it a thumbs up, and if you're not currently subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button as well.